Today, we're going to talk about building a simple weight loss strategy that is rooted in biblical stewardship, which I believe when you implement that, it will put you into that small percentage of people who are actually successful at both losing weight and keeping it off long term. If you did a survey of most people who are out there trying to lose weight and you asked them one question, and that question was, what's your strategy to lose weight? Most of them will answer the question by saying something like, I'm going to join the gym, or I'm going to take up running, or I'm going to cut carbs, or maybe they'll say, I'm going to give up fast food. Those are all good things. I don't want to take away from that, but none of those things that they mentioned are strategy. All of those fall into the bucket of tactics. And again, tactics are important. Tactics are what you are going to use to execute your strategy. So again, they're important, but they're not what are going to really determine your level of success in this journey. The level of success is going to be determined by the strategy that you have laid out here. So when I'm talking strategy, so think of building a house. When you think of building a house, you don't just run to a lumber yard, buy some studs, some plywood, some nails, bring it back to the job site and just start pounding them together and building walls, right? You use a blueprint. Think of the blueprint as your strategy. That blueprint has way more information than just the location and dimensions of walls and rafters and roof lines. It has foundational information. It has all of the tactical stuff we talked about. However, it also has what the house is going to look like after you're done building it. So it's got everything from the foundation to the tactics to the overall appearance of the house. All of this is found inside of that blueprint. That's your strategy. That's what you need to build here. So I created this graphic. I think this graphic does a really good job of explaining what I'm talking about when I'm talking about building a strategy that is rooted in biblical stewardship. The place that makes the most sense to start is at that foundation level. So at this level, this is where everything starts. This is where you accept that your body is not your own. You're going to be saying daily as a prayer, Lord, this body is yours. Help me steward it for your glory, Lord. Here I love the Romans 12, 1 and 2 verse, right? You're going to present your body as a living sacrifice that is holy and acceptable to the Lord. So again, it's back to understanding that the body is not your own, right? That is the root of biblical stewardship. You are just stewarding this body. So then we jump from the foundation level, and I know it looks a little funky having a floating roof out there, but I want to get the roof level next because the foundation and the vision. So at that roof level is what I'm referring to as the vision level of the house. This is about knowing where you are going. So you want to be crystal clear on why you're doing this in this part of the strategy. So it shouldn't be that I just want to lose 50 pounds, right? That may be a result that you're looking for, but what you want to write down is actually a God-honoring vision. So something like, I want to be strong. I want to be a disciplined man who glorifies God in his body. So what I used in when I was creating this was to glorify God in my body and to become the man that God created me to be. So again, it's very much connected and a reflection of that foundation that we were talking about earlier in terms of daily surrender and biblical stewardship. But this is about really crafting myself and turning myself into that temple of the Holy Spirit that will glorify God in my body. So connecting these two together, we need a couple of pillars to hold up this roof. So we'll start with the pillar on the left-hand side. This is where daily action, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where you're going to have things like show up daily. You're going to make consistent choices. You're going to move your body regularly. You know, one thing that was very specific to me, you may have different things on this list, but one thing for me was to eat for fuel, not for comfort. So I knew one of my weaknesses was I was an emotional eater. I ate out of boredom. I ate when I was happy. I ate when I was sad. I ate when I was stressed. I mean, I basically ate all of the time, right? But it was tied to my emotions. So that was one of my core things that I needed to have built into my strategy. So the one thing you will notice about the things on this list is they're still not as specific as tactics quite yet. You will have to decide what tactics that you employ to execute upon this. And that's based on your style, your body, what's easy for you. Some people, it might be easier to go for a walk. Some people might want to jog. Some people might want to lift weights. Some people might want to play racquetball. Some people might want to, you decide for yourself what those tactics are going to be. And again, as long as you've got the strategy, the tactics are less important in terms of what they're doing, as long as the tactics you're using are driving toward the strategy that we're talking about here today. So we add that second column off on the right hand side here, and that's about review. So this is being honest with yourself, tracking your progress on a regular basis, doing weekly heart checks, right? This one is more important than you even realize. And I'm not just talking about heart checks when it comes to your diet and your exercise and how did you do on calories and how did you do with regard to your weight loss. It's about how are you doing at your soul level. Are you walking with Jesus Christ? Do you have a good relationship? Because, is your sin life in line as well? Because anything that you have that is causing separation between you and God, you need to address that on a regular basis. So I would say daily, if not daily, then definitely no less than weekly. You need to be checking in. You need to be honest with yourself, right? One of my favorite questions that I like to ask myself when I'm doing heart checks is, was I honest? Did I lie about any of those questions? Because what you will find is you will be amazed how many times you lie to yourself. So make sure you're asking yourself that last follow-up question is, was I honest? Did I lie about any of the responses that I gave during your daily or weekly heart checks? And then lastly, I will say adjust with grace, right? Nothing that we're talking about here is going to be perfect. So give yourself grace. God gives you grace every single day. Be gracious with yourself. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to have bad days, but don't let bad days become 2 bad days or 3 bad days or a bad week or a bad month, right? Understand it. That's why these regular honest reviews and check-ins are going to be important, so that way you can be graceful with yourself, but you can also make the adjustments that you need to do to get yourself back on track. So I created a PDF of this Stewardship Strategy House. There's a link to a PDF. You can download that in the description box below. I also created a version that is blank that allows you to fill out your own strategy house specific to your needs. So I want to challenge you in the next 7 days to spend 30 minutes praying about everything that we just reviewed here with regard to the strategy house. And I want you to take some honest time to actually sit down and fill out your own strategy house. Now, some of them may overlap with me, but don't just copy what I showed you verbatim. Make sure you make it your own based on your own strengths, based on your own weaknesses, based on your own walk with God. So be honest with yourselves, but take 30 minutes. Do yourself a favor. Go through this exercise. I can guarantee you it's not going to hurt your chances, but I strongly believe that this is going to help your chances of being in that small percentage of people who actually lose weight and keep it off. So that's my first challenge to you. Challenge number 1, fill out your own strategy house. Then my second challenge to you is start executing on those daily actions. Pick 2 or 3 of them. Maybe it's, I'm going to cut back on carbs. Maybe it's, I'm going to go for 2 walks a day. Maybe it's, I'm going to stop eating fast food on my way to work in the morning. Whatever they are for you, but pick 2 or 3 of those daily action items that we talked about that you're going to start doing. And then the third thing that I want you to do this week, my challenge to you, is to make sure you're starting every day and ending every day with that prayer we were talking about before. Lord, this is not my body. I surrender it to you. Please give me the strength that I need to steward the body that you gifted me in your holy name. Amen. That's what you need to do. You need to say something like that. Doesn't need to be those exact words, but find something that works for you. Be praying to God. Pray out loud. Don't be shy. He wants to talk to you. He wants to hear from you. Ask him for his help. He will help you carry this load. So again, I want to be clear. You don't need a complicated strategy. Nothing that we talked about here is crazy. But the interesting thing is nobody does it. Everybody knows they need to do this, but nobody does it. Do this. This will help you. This will make it so much easier to follow through, to show up on a daily basis, to have regular communications with God. He wants to help you through this. But again, just like David standing in that field, declaring the battle is the Lord's. But David still had to pick up that stone. He still had to run at the giant, and he still had to sling that stone. So that's what you need to do. That's your challenge. Pick up the stone, run at your giant. I'll see you next time.